we are in Portugal right now, and we've been here, I don't know, just under a week now. We just got done hiking. I think it was about a 46 or 48 mile trail called the Fisherman's Trail along the coast, southern Portugal. Absolutely beautiful. And I wanted to make a video about the gear that we brought on this trip, or the gear that I brought, just because I found that over the years, that's been something that I've always thought about a ton before these trips, and then throughout them, find that there's a lot of regrets for things that I change. And so I finally feel like I have a kit that's worth really sharing. And yeah, if you're doing any trip like this, then it might be a good option for you. So first of all, dive in. I've got my backpack. So this backpack is a 28 liter. This one's a Mammoth backpack, which is actually built for ski touring. We just got them. Sadie and I have the exact same backpack. This is what we brought. When we first started, I think the first trip we did, we brought like a 55 liter bag. We've gone down to like, 35 or something. Now we're down to 28. If all goes well in the future, we'll probably even reduce it from there. But yeah, this backpack's been great. One thing that we did change with it is because it's a snowpack, they don't have exterior water bottle holders. So I added a little one right here, which worked out well. And then I guess some other stuff I'll talk about later. So I'll just open it up. We just got to our little hostel for the night, and so I haven't even dove into it yet. But to start out with, I've got, like I said, a water bottle. Some trips we've brought water bottles on from home. Others we just buy them along the way. That way they're disposable. We can replace them, especially if you're in an area where you have to buy water because you aren't supposed to drink the tap water. This trip, I brought one, actually lost it, and so I had to buy one anyways. So go in there. This thing has a couple of pockets on the front, so I have a spare like running bladder water bottle there, which I actually didn't use yet on this trip at all. That was just if I needed extra space. And then I have my camera carrier, which is Peak Designs capture clip, and so my camera just stows right on my shoulder right here, which is nice. Keeps it from bouncing around, and it's always accessible. Though I did lose the button on this trip, and so I had to use a stick to push the button each time I want to pull my camera off, which I have been using these things for like probably the last 6 years, and this is the first problem I've had, and it did not result in the camera falling at all. It's just a little bit annoying. So overall, still really happy with those things. And then I also always bring a carabiner, just because I find myself wanting to attach my pack to things, or attach things to my pack, or else, there's just a million uses for a carabiner. So found that it's always nice to have one. And then on this side, I have a little tripod, and this is something that I've reduced over the years. Sometimes I'll carry like a full-size tripod for my camera. This trip I didn't. This is just a tiny little flexible arm tripod with a phone mount on it, or else if I unthread the phone mount, it could thread straight into my camera, so I could use my camera on this. Though this trip I primarily only used it for the phone. And then on the bottom of the pack, I have a spot where I keep a rain fly, which we haven't had to use yet, and then a bag. Now this bag is like the emergency kit. Sadie and I each have an identical bag, and inside of it is a photocopy of our passports, a spare debit card and a credit card, and some extra cash. And then I also throw an air tag in there. And I usually store this in one of the less obvious pockets on the pack. That way, if somebody steals the pack, then they're unlikely to find that and I can track it. Or if they just rummage through the pack to steal stuff out of it, they're less likely to find that. So that's kind of the backup, and we each have one in our backpacks. And then on the inside, right here, I've got my wallet. This is a fanny pack. It's from REI. I'll link everything up down below so you can check that out. But this is just a really slim fanny pack, and I usually wear this under my shirt whenever we're traveling, like going through airports, whatever. And I just keep like my passport, and again my standard like credit card, ID, some cash, and whatever the most important things are for me on that trip. Just go right there. And again, I usually wear that in between layers or else under my shirt. That way if you're in like a city and you're worried about pickpocketing or whatever, it's completely invisible to anybody. And so this is obviously the thing I protect the most, and so we'll keep that on me. Or if we're out in remote areas like hiking today, then I'll just shove it into my pack. Then nothing in there. In the main compartment, I'll just run through everything I have. Spare pastry just in case you get hungry. we'll eat that probably tonight or in the morning. Because I take video, photo stuff, this trip I brought this cube. This is a Lowepro cube, and inside I have all of my spare camera stuff, and my camera that I'm shooting on right now also fits in here if I need to. And so real quick, go through it. I've got my drone controller, my drone, my microphone for on camera when I'm not using this one, a spare mic because I'm still testing this one, haven't decided if I like it. Got an ND filter. If you take video, it's sunglasses to help deal with the sun. And then my other lens, I have my, on my camera, which my camera is an A7C, a Sony, and then it has a 17 to 28 millimeter lens on it. And then I also carry an 85 millimeter prime lens. I found that to be a pretty good combo though. I would like to get to a spot where I just have one lens. Haven't gotten there yet. And then a spare Ziploc bag, just because you never know when you might need one for food or whatever. And then I have a spare battery for my camera, a spare memory card, and a spare plate for the tripod or for the capture clip on the camera. And then I have a shoulder strap. So this is just a lanyard for if I'm not wearing the backpack and I want to carry the camera on a lanyard. So that's everything in there. Super compact kit. I used to carry way more than this, and I've just found the less the better, and over time I'm reducing it. So as of today, I'm in this size of a container for all of my camera equipment, and then when I'm not when I'm not using the camera, it fits in there as well. Then my second, I would say the most important bag is this guy. This is a outdoor research zip up bag. I have a few of these and I've used these things for years and absolutely love them. This red one I've carried as kind of like my necessities kit for a long time, and it just kind of transforms a little bit depending on what I'm doing. And so for let me separate everything real quick. For electrical, start out with, I've got this adapter. So this is a just a universal adapter. So depending on what country you're in or what style of electrical plug they use, you just select it on the side. So we're in Europe right now, and this is the plug that most places use. And so I have been using this, and then it has a bunch of different outlets. So you can plug your normal wall outlet in if you're from the US or whatever other styles, and there's USB-C and a bunch of USB-A on the bottom. So use that every single day to recharge stuff. And then a whole variety of cords. This is again just because I have camera gear and stuff. So I've got a watch cord for my Garmin watch. I've got an iPhone cord. I have 2 USB-C cords because that's what my camera and my drone and my battery use. And I think I have an extra phone cord just in case right here. And then I have a couple of wall blocks. Again, this is probably overkill, but they ended up in there. And then I have this Dark Energy battery pack. And this is a 10,000 milliamp hour battery. And I found this to be perfect, especially if you're gonna be in civilization most nights. I think I can charge my phone like 3 times or maybe even more off of this. And then if I need to charge my watch or anything else, I could use it as well. But primarily it's just for my phone. And I want to make sure I have something as backup because most of the time I'm using my phone for mapping as well as checking into places and booking things. And so I want to make sure that's good. And then I carry a super light headlamp just because in case we get caught out in the dark. I've got that, which don't use it frequently, but I have it. And then we got a water filter. This is the BeFree. It's I think a 1 liter squeeze. I have a bigger bladder too, depending on what I'm doing. I'll bring this pretty much no matter what, and that's just because if I do run out of water, come across a water source that's not optimal or I don't quite trust, I can use this. I haven't really been using it on this trip, but it's a great little filter, and I've used it a ton backpacking and in other different settings. So if you're sketched out about the water, you have this, and then you can always add iodine tablets as well if filtering it doesn't seem sufficient. And then I also have this memory card adapter that goes into my phone. It's lightning plug, and then micro SD and the other SD that come from my cameras into my phone. And then keep some paracord, and this is, I don't know, probably about 10 or 20 feet of it. And so between this and the carabiner, you can string it up for a clothesline if you need to tie things together if things break. You can use it for shoelace if your shoelaces break. all sorts of different uses. So paracord and a carabiner are kind of something I always carry, and a tiny little Sharpie in case I need to write a note somewhere. And then for my hygiene kit, I carry a little stick of deodorant, and then inside I have Dr. Bronner's soap, and this stuff is awesome. You can use it for anything. You can use it for washing your body, your hair, your clothes. We typically find ourselves using it for our clothes the most. So at night, if you are somewhere that you need to wash your clothes, you can use a few drops of this. It goes a long ways. We wash our clothes a lot in the sink at night and then just dry them out on the line, or also on hangers, depending on where we are. So that stuff's awesome, and it's biodegradable as well. And then we have a little tiny med kit, which has, again, this is something that's reduced so much over the years. I used to carry all sorts of different stuff. Now I just have ibuprofen, Tylenol PM, and that's it. Sometimes I'll carry a anti-diarrhea med, depending on how, I guess, nervous I am about where we're going. And then I also carry a little bit of diphenhydramine or Benadryl in case of an allergic reaction of some sort, specifically with Sadie, since she has had some reactions in the past. And then I've got some Gorilla Tape, and that's just to repair anything that needs repaired. So keep a little bit of that. It's folded. It's probably only about 3 feet length. And a little super glue pen. And this super glue, again, can be used for anything from medical use to repairing anything that breaks. So that is my entire medical kit, which, again, I've just done that because we're in Europe and there's pharmacies and medical opportunity in most places, so I don't foresee us really even needing that. But then to the other important things, I've got some tissues which can be used for toilet paper if you need it, my toothbrush, Sadie has a toothpaste, and then a bunch of earplugs. And earplugs, well, that one's gross now. Earplugs are absolutely necessary because, especially if you're doing it the way we do, which is we usually book hostels or fairly cheap places to stay, sound can be a problem. And so, especially if you're leaving the windows open for ventilation, because lots of places don't have AC, you need earplugs, especially for me. I wake up pretty easily, and so this, is an absolute game changer. I've forgotten them before, and I regret it immensely when I don't have it. So now, as far as clothes go, I have this, why don't I start with what I'm wearing? So, t-shirt, this is a merino wool t-shirt. I've worn this thing all over the world. It is beat up, there's holes all over the place, but merino wool doesn't smell that bad after you sweat in it for a long time, and dries out really quickly. And so I always make sure to have at least one merino t-shirt. That's what I wear anytime I'm hiking, sweating a lot, whatever. Wash it at night, and you can reuse it for days on end, sometimes even without washing it, and it still won't smell nearly as bad as a lot of the other materials will, like cotton especially. And then for shorts, I have these Vuori shorts, which are just running shorts, and a pair of boxers that are like an athletic type that I like. And these shorts have a liner in them as well, so they can be worn without boxers, which, I guess you can wear any shorts without boxers, but there's that. Watch, I wear a Garmin. This is a Phoenix 7, I think, and I use that just for tracking all of our trips, just because I think it's fun to see how far we go in a day. And then for socks today, I've got Darn Tough. These are merino socks. These are pretty thin ones, but again, merino, they just don't stink as bad as other socks do. And so, yeah, you can just go longer without having to wash them, or, yeah. And then shoes, this trip, I just brought a pair of Ultra Timp running shoes, like trail running shoes. And this is typically all I ever wear, is like a lightweight running shoe. They're not waterproof. I've found that unless you're somewhere that's super cold or absolutely soaked all the time and fairly cool, it's better just to wear running shoes, because then even if they get wet, they actually dry out overnight, whereas something that's waterproof, unless you have really good ventilation and low humidity, they just don't dry out. So they might start dry and they might be nice, but odds are you'll end up soaking them, and then you have wet boots or shoes for the rest of the trip, which isn't awesome. But then I carry this mid-layer, which is a fleece Mammut, yeah, zip-up jacket. Love this thing. Just got it a few weeks ago, or actually just a couple, yeah, last week I think, right before the trip. And so far, really like this. This is just a thin hooded sweatshirt that I'll wear in the mornings, the evenings. It's kind of on and off all day. And then I have a puffy jacket, and this one it's not down. I will sometimes use down insulation, but this one's Primaloft, and that's just because, one, it's not that cold on this trip, and then also if this stuff gets wet, it doesn't totally just like turn into a wet napkin. It actually still is effective, and so that's nice if you're not wanting to be as careful. If you're somewhere super cold, you might want like a thinner down puffy, but this one has been awesome so far. I really, really like this jacket. So these are the only 2 jackets I carry. A fleece mid-layer and, or sorry, 2 of the 3 jackets I carry. And then the puffy. The other ones that I carry are, we'll see, in here, these are my packing cubes. I carry 2 of these for my clothes, for space, and just because that way if I have dirty clothes I can separate them, so 2 different ones. And I've just found it nice to have packing cubes because they just make handling your gear a lot easier. So the last jacket is a rain jacket, and this is one that I've had for years. Outdoor Research, I forget the model, but it's just a rain jacket. And so I rarely go anywhere without a shell jacket like this, just because if you do, I mean, yeah, you're gonna get hit by rain or snow or something and regret it immensely. So that can save your life, really, if you're in the wrong situation. And then for extra clothes, what I carry is another t-shirt. This one is not merino, but it's like I forget the material, but it's athletic type, really comfortable. So I wear this usually at night, so it stays relatively clean. I just, shower first or whatever. So this is the second t-shirt. And then I carry a pair of thin pants. These are Mammut. They're like kind of like joggers, but with pockets, and they're really nice. So yeah, these are super light, very, very thin, lightweight. And again, it's not that cold, so these are plenty for this trip. Then I carry a packable towel. This is a microfiber pack towel, or not, maybe not microfiber, but it's a pack towel. And yeah, that way if we are somewhere without towels, we have a way to dry off, or if we want to go swimming, it can be nice to have that. And then a spare pair of underwear. These are Ex Officios, and I have been using this brand, this model, for like the last 10 years. The first time I bought them, I bought I think 4 or 5 pairs, and I wore them for like 7 years straight. Awesome. So I just replaced them with another set of like 5 pairs, and they've been amazing. So highly recommend those. And then I've got a pair of Outdoor Research gloves. These are fairly thin. They're sort of warm, but they are waterproof mostly. And so I love to have a pair of these just in case it gets cold, which this trip it hasn't been very cold, but I bring them anyways. I found that the shell jacket, puffy, the gloves, and the beanie come with me no matter what, anywhere, all the time. Sometimes I'll make the beanie a little thinner or the gloves a little thinner if it's going to be like hot weather, but I just think it's a great insurance policy to always have those with you. And then got an extra pair of merino socks. These ones are a little bit thicker. That way, if it is cold, I have those ones available. And then another pair of pants. And I will say, as of now on this trip, I regret bringing these. I rarely bring anything, like 3 of anything. I usually carry just 2 of everything, one that you're wearing, and that way, and then one that's clean. That way you can swap them. I don't know why I went with a second pair of pants, but the theory, I guess, was so I could layer them, but it really hasn't been cold enough. So maybe in Italy on the second leg of this trip, it'll be cooler and I will want them. Wow, church bell. So that is most of the clothes. And then the last piece of clothing are a pair of sandals. These are just Tevas. They're pretty lightweight, and so that's why we bring these. I can walk in these, hike in these, whatever. But most of the time I wear the shoes during the day, these at night, and they've been great. So sunglasses, forgot those. Definitely want those. Otherwise, general thoughts. I have, like I said, we've been evolving these this kit for the last like handful of years, and one thing that I've found is that the less you have, the less weight you have, the more enjoyable the trip is. So this is the first trip I would say that we've had such lightweight. Normally we also have to carry laptops because Sadie is working remote or whatever, which this trip is the first one in years where we haven't. But our packs are like, I mean, I haven't weighed them, but I would guess 15 pounds or less, and that's with my camera gear. So they're so light that we can just carry them all day with us. It's not a big, you know, bulky thing. You don't have to worry about dragging carry-ons, I mean, like luggage down the street. When you're flying, you don't have to pay for checked baggage. You don't have to worry about losing checked baggage. You just keep it with you. We can even shove these under the seat in the plane if we wanted to. We usually throw them overhead, but it's just way more secure, way more light, fast. And we have found that like redundancy through like, you know, carrying like 4 shirts doesn't do you much good because you ultimately end up having to wash them anyways. Like unless you're carrying one for every single day of your trip, you're gonna have to wash them regardless. And so if you just come up with a efficient system and making it part of your like nighttime routine to just like wash your shirt in whatever water source or sink or tub you have with a little bit of soap, dry them out overnight, it's way more efficient and it just reduces the amount you have to carry. And no matter where you go in the world, I have found that if you forget something or you find you regret not having something, like you can buy it. I mean, I don't know where, I mean, short of being like, I really don't know where there's not going to be an opportunity to purchase a shirt or a pair of pants or whatever if you want them. But if you bring things that are valuable to you and then you don't end up wanting to use them, you don't want to leave them behind because then it just feels like wasting money. Kind of like these pants. Like I don't think I need the second pair of pants on this trip, but I'm not going to ditch them just because they're expensive and I brought them, so I'll just carry them the rest of the trip. And so my theory at this point is definitely like, it's okay to have 2 of each thing, but beyond that, it's, I don't know, getting a little bit ridiculous, and you just feel weighted down by every ounce you carry. And so if you're carrying it for many miles like we just did over the last 3 days, or we will over the coming week, you might regret it. So yeah, 28-liter pack. This is everything we have for a 2.5-week long trip to Europe, and it's in the winter. It's December right now, and so in the summer you could get away with even less because you could just make each thing a little bit lighter. But yeah, hopefully that's useful. If you have any other suggestions, things you want, throw them in the comments. And then one other thing I will mention is when it comes to travel equipment, I have also bought travel insurance on every single trip that we've gone on internationally. I have yet to use it. I don't know if it's worth it. I've read that it is, especially medically. Like if you have an issue that's serious and you need medical care, like that can get expensive. And so having that taken care of, it can be nice. And then also more importantly, if you have medical transport need or rescue need, like if you're in the backcountry and you need a rescue, or if you have some sort of serious illness that's going to be long lasting and you need to get transported back home, you know, whether that's to the US or some other place, like medical transport's incredibly expensive no matter where you are, and certainly if you're going overseas. And so for this trip, I think I only paid somewhere between $100 and $200 for the 2.5 weeks. So I'll link up whatever my current best option that I've found is on that as well. And then let me know if you guys have any questions. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next one. And if you haven't checked out the video for this trip, if it's out yet, do that. Here in Portugal, we just had 3 epic days down the coastline. Beautiful views, like absolutely incredible. And then next we're going to Italy, and it's gonna be a fun week over in Italy, exploring a bunch of new cities that we haven't seen before.